A man looks at a perfectly ordinary key. He can see its shape. He knows what it is used for. He may even demonstrate how to turn it in a lock. But after damage to a small part of his brain, he cannot say the word key. Another patient can speak clearly, but no longer recognizes familiar faces. A tiny injury can remove one very specific ability. So if 90% of the brain is supposedly unused, why can losing a small piece cause such precise and serious problems? The answer is simple. We do not use only 10% of our brains. There is no silent warehouse containing 90% of our neurons waiting for the right pill, course, or electric headband to switch it on. The myth survives partly because the word use is slippery. It can mean several different things, and those meanings are often mixed together. At this moment, not every neuron in your brain is firing as fast as it can. That would not be a sign of genius. Large-scale abnormal and excessive synchronization of brain activity is associated with seizures. A healthy brain depends on changing patterns. Some networks become more active, others less active, and many keep doing quiet background work. Using the whole brain does not mean running every cell at maximum power at the same time, just as using a city does not require every traffic light, kitchen, elevator, and fire alarm to operate at full capacity in the same second. Put your hand on the table and tap one finger. That small action recruits systems for planning movement, controlling muscles, processing touch, maintaining posture, and monitoring the result. Your visual system may track the finger. Your attention may drift toward the sound of the tapping. At the same time, deeper structures help regulate breathing, heart rate, temperature, and alertness. The pattern changes when you read, remember a phone number, recognize a voice, or try not to laugh during a serious meeting. Brain scans help make this visible, but they also created new misunderstandings. A colorful, functional MRI image is not a photograph of thoughts, and a dark area is not necessarily switched off. The common bold signal measures changes in blood oxygenation that are indirectly linked to neural activity. Researchers often compare one condition with another, such as looking at faces versus looking at objects. The colored regions show where activity differs enough to stand out in that comparison. Much of the brain can still be active without appearing as a bright patch. This is where a bad caption can do a lot of damage. A magazine prints a scan with 3 glowing areas and says, "These are the parts used during reading." A reader reasonably assumes the gray areas did nothing. In reality, the image may show only the increase above a baseline, after statistical filtering, during one narrow task. It is closer to a map of where traffic increased during rush hour than a map showing every road that exists. So where did the 10% number come from? There is no clean origin story. It is often linked to the psychologist William James, who wrote in the early 20th century that people use only a small part of their possible mental and physical resources. He was talking about unrealized human potential, not claiming that 90% of brain tissue sits idle. Over time, a broad statement about habits and ability seems to have hardened into a biological percentage. Albert Einstein is regularly pulled into the story too. Posters, self-help books, and internet quotes claim that he explained his intelligence by using more of his brain than other people. There is no solid evidence that he originated the 10% claim. Attaching Einstein's name simply makes a weak idea sound scientific. It is the intellectual version of putting a white coat on an advertisement. Older neuroscience experiments may also have helped the myth along. Researchers such as Carl Lashley studied how brain damage affected learning in animals. Some abilities were more widely distributed than expected, and animals could sometimes still perform a task after parts of the cortex were damaged. That did not show that the removed tissue had been useless. Brains contain overlapping systems, alternative routes, and some capacity to adapt. A damaged network may produce a subtle deficit, or another network may partially compensate. A rat completing a maze is not proof that most of its brain was spare material. A stroke makes the problem much clearer. Damage in one location may disrupt speech production. Damage elsewhere may affect comprehension, vision, movement, attention, memory, or awareness of one side of space. The result depends on the tissue and connections involved. Doctors do sometimes remove brain tissue to treat tumors or severe epilepsy, and some patients recover remarkably well. But the surgery is planned with extreme care precisely because brain regions are not interchangeable blank space. There is another blunt piece of evidence. The brain is expensive. It is only about 2% of an adult's body mass, yet it accounts for roughly 20% of the body's energy use at rest. Estimates vary with age and measurement, but the basic point is stable. Evolution would be taking on an enormous cost if most of that organ had no function. Even when you lie still with your eyes closed, the brain continues spending energy on signaling, maintaining ion balances, supporting synapses, and coordinating the body. A lot of that work is not glamorous. Neurons must restore electrical gradients after signaling. Blood flow has to be regulated. Chemical messengers must be cleared or recycled. Glial cells help maintain the environment around neurons, provide metabolic support, influence synapses, form myelin, and contribute to immune defense. They are not a secret reserve of unused intelligence. They are closer to maintenance crews, insulation, supply lines, and local regulators, although even that comparison is too simple. Now picture someone sitting on a bus, staring through the window. No puzzle, no conversation, no obvious task. Their mind jumps from an awkward comment made that morning to tomorrow's shopping list, then rehearses an argument that will probably never happen. Brain activity has not stopped. It has shifted. Researchers use the name default mode network for a set of regions that often show coordinated activity during quiet rest and tend to change their activity during demanding external tasks. This network has been linked with autobiographical memory, thinking about oneself and other people, language and meaning, imagining future events, and mind wandering. It is not a single daydream center, and scientists are still debating how its different parts work together. Still, its discovery demolished the simple idea that a resting brain is an inactive brain. Sleep gives the myth another easy hiding place. A sleeping person may barely move and may remember nothing from several hours of the night. Yet the brain cycles through distinct stages with different patterns of electrical activity. Sleep is involved in memory processing, regulation, and many forms of biological maintenance. Conscious awareness of the bedroom is reduced, but the organ is not powered down like a laptop with the lid closed. Fine, but people clearly can improve their brains. A beginner pianist struggles to press 5 keys in the right order. Months later, the movement is faster, smoother, and may happen without conscious attention to every finger. The improvement is real. Practice changes how neural systems operate. Learning can alter the strength of connections and produce functional and structural changes across networks. This is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity does not mean activating a previously dead 90%. The beginner and the experienced pianist both use broad brain systems. Training makes particular operations more efficient, reliable, and coordinated. Similar changes occur when someone learns a language, practices a sport, recovers abilities after an injury, or memorizes a route through a new city. Sometimes performance improves while activation in part of a network decreases because the task requires less effort. More brain activity is not automatically better brain activity. The myth remains attractive because its false version is more exciting than the accurate one. You can improve through sleep, practice, feedback, and years of repetition. Sounds like work. You have a hidden supercomputer in your skull, and one trick can unlock it. Sounds like a trailer. It also offers a flattering explanation for frustration. The ability is already inside you, complete and powerful. Someone just forgot to press the switch. Films such as Limitless and Lucy use this idea because it is excellent fiction. Increase the percentage, and suddenly a character gains perfect memory, instant calculation, telepathy, or control over matter. Real brains do not have a percentage dial. Cognitive abilities depend on many interacting systems, and improving one skill does not unlock every other skill. A memory champion may still forget where the charging cable went. A concert pianist can still be bad at remembering names. There is a genuine form of unused potential, just not the anatomical one. Most people have skills they could develop, information they could learn, and habits they could change. The limits are shaped by biology, health, environment, education, time, motivation, and luck. We do not know a single percentage for how much of anyone's possible ability has been reached. That question cannot be measured like storage remaining on a phone. So the next time someone says humans use only 10% of the brain, ask what use means. Not every neuron fires at once. Not every region peaks during every task. Not every ability is fully trained. Those statements can all be true. None of them means that 90% of the brain is unnecessary. The impressive fact is not that most of the brain is asleep. It is that almost every ordinary moment depends on a shifting network of specialized and cooperating systems. You recognize a key, remember what it opens, reach toward it, and say its name without noticing the work. There is no hidden 90% waiting to turn you into a superhero. There is an active, adaptable organ, already doing far more than the myth gives it credit for.
Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. See you in the next one!